Hey, I'm sitting here on my mat in meditation style, Zen meditation, and the question arose in my mind, what is the purpose of meditating? Well, if you ask yourself what is the purpose of meditation, you have to also ask yourself what is the purpose of life inherently? Like what is the purpose of living? Um, what does living do for you in the world? What does interacting with your family, interacting with your friends, eating delicious food, going to the beach, what do these things do for you? It seems that when you think of it, the reason for doing anything is because it makes you feel happy. And if you think of it, what are some of the things that make you happiest? Right? It's those few moments in life that give you joy, almost the simplest things, such as if your parents buy a new puppy, or you go on the first date with the man or the woman that you ultimately fall in love with. These are some of the great things in life. But the question is, well, how do you become even happier, right? Is the issue the event that is happening to you, or is the issue you? You know, if you're searching for events that are going to give you pleasure, you're gonna never stop seeking those events or those events in your life, right? You're going to um, go on your next vacation. You're going to buy a new Harley Davidson. Uh, you're going to get that six-pack abs that you've always wanted in your life. But what happens then, right? You have the six-pack abs, and all of a sudden having six-pack abs becomes the norm. It's like, oh, I have six-pack abs. Why does that really matter? It doesn't make you happy 6 months later. Even if you buy a new motorcycle, you're happier for the next 6 months, but then it just ends and your life becomes normal again. Right? That can happen with any event outside of your life. Even marriage, falling in love with the right person, right? If you and your heart are not ready to enjoy and abide in that happiness isn't going to give you pleasure for very long. It's just the reason why these events seem cool is because they're new. It's not the events, it's just the newness that you desire, you're craving in your heart. Not really your heart, but actually it's like in your mind. Your mind is craving all of this novelty and newness. So how can you stop craving all of those outer events and start seeing that maybe it's me, maybe the issue could be inside of my heart. Where does the energy come from that can cultivate more and grow more happiness? Okay, then you start thinking of, well, what activities can I do to improve that? Do I read more novels? Do I read more books? It's like, well, the book ends. You read a book, it's great, then the book ends, and now you feel kind of empty. It's like, oh, there's a hole right there that's not being filled anymore. So then you need to fill it with something else, right? That's going back to the outer world and trying to find the happiness in the outer world. So where can you find where can you cultivate the energy inside of you, right? It's really just appreciation from your heart, from moment to moment, right? If you appreciate the every single moment, you're going to be happier more often, right? I'm not saying that being impoverished is going to make you happy. No, I'm saying you need to think about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, or spiral dynamics. You're not going to be your happiest self when you're living in the bottom 5% of society, right? Uh, you need a certain amount of resources in your life. There needs to be a certain amount of equality between you and the middle class, similarity between you and the middle class, to have enough resources in your life to live a decent middle path kind of comfortable life, but not too much money, right? What happens to the people that have too much money? They get addicted to the money, right? The money becomes like cocaine. The happiness is seen outside of you and not inside. And there's like just an empty hole that people need to fill with money, 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 money. So what is an activity that could help? Well, a lot of us hear about mindfulness meditation, right? So then you say, oh, well, what do I do? How do I start? Right? It sounds so complicated, right? But it's really, really not complicated. Just start by sitting in your room with zero distractions for 5 minutes. Like just sit here, and there's no distractions. There's just silence. I shut off my voice, and you notice that when there's pure quiet in your room, that only lasts for about 10 seconds. Because what's going to happen when you're sitting by yourself in your room? Your thoughts, right? It's this thing right here. Well, it's actually your mind. And your mind, also called your ego, is going to start playing tricks on you. Right? What are those tricks? Those tricks are like, oh, you should go open up your laptop. There's a new notification or a new email, or what should you get for dinner tonight, or why did I say that one comment at work, right? So it's these mind games that are constantly going in your mind, and you attach to them, right? The thoughts come in and you follow it. You hold on to it like a rope, right? It's like, oh, those thoughts are something I need to follow, right? But this is the basic issue. You believe that you are your thoughts, right? You attach to your thoughts because you've been taught by society that is you. Have you ever thought about that? Your parents taught you when you were born. Your parents taught you. They give you all of these lessons, and these lessons got inculcated into your brain chemistry. They're literally right here in your brain chemistry, all of those thoughts. And it's filled with, I should do this and I shouldn't do that. So society, parents, news, media, Facebook, it tells you what you should be doing. But what are those lessons? Right? What are the lessons of should? You should do this, you shouldn't do that. They're telling you to follow the crowd. They're telling you, don't think for yourself, just follow the crowd. Be a good boy, be a good girl. If you're a good boy or a good girl, we'll give you enough, society will give you enough things, and you'll be on your merry way. And but what does that lead to? Again, that this society teaches you materialism. In Spanish, materialismo. Okay, the things in the events, the outside. Okay, but if you think about it, we're looking back into the inside. So sitting in your room, the thoughts are coming in, and you attach to them, but they're not you. They're not you, they're not you, right? So a thought comes in, oh, I have to do this. Or then you judge yourself. Why can't I stop thinking? Oh, why can't I stop thinking? That's also a thought too. These are thoughts that were taught to you from your nature and your nurture, right? Nature and nurture. That is what your identity is. That's you. That's what you believe is you, okay? But once you get better, practice, just sitting here, like, sitting. Oh, a thought comes in. A thought is like a butterfly. Ooh, it's so interesting. All these butterflies have blue wings, orange wings. A thought can be happy, can be sad. A sensation. Oh, pain in my back, or I have pain in my knee, or my eye is twitching, right? We just, with practice, we sit there and we watch it from your consciousness. What is your consciousness? Right? Have you ever thought about that? Well, meditation, you get to become friends with your consciousness. Not just become friends, but you become it. And you question what is going on. Okay. For example, you're sitting there and all of a sudden, what is the wall? What is it? What is looking at the wall? Oh my goodness, what is looking at the wall? Is that me? Is that I? I am looking at the wall. So the wall is an object. I am looking at it. But who is or what is I looking at it? Okay, so then you start thinking about I am. I exist. But what is I? What is I? And you realize you can't see it, right? You can't see I. It is a dog trying to eat its own tail. I can't see myself, right? So it's literally just it's doing a reverse. But you can when you're turning around, you can never see yourself. Like, what is this consciousness? The scary part is you realize that I is nothing, no thing, nothing, illusion, magic. It's not material. It's when you look behind these things, right? When you're what you call your eyes, and you look behind the thoughts, not the thoughts themselves, but the thinker. Who is the thinker of the thoughts? Who is the seer of the scene, of the objects? What are these things? And who is the thing seeing it? You realize that I is nothing. Absolute emptiness. Okay, that is the first scare factor. Oh my gosh, I am empty. Empty, empty, empty. Not of meaning, but of physicalness. Any idea you've ever had in your life, that is not it. No thing, no idea fits into the realm of I. It is literally nothingness. That is this first step as you go inwards, like, what am I? Who am I? What am I? Okay? And you realize that I is always in the moment. It's always, always now. You can't be I in the future because that becomes me. Oh, Kyle or Amanda or something. Like, they do that, or I do that. me. But I is always the thing that's sensing, seeing, touching, feeling, fear. What is the thing fearing? Well, it's the thing that's existing now, but it's nowhere, right? You think it's in your brain, but where? It doesn't feel like it's in my brain, right? It feels like it's both nowhere and everywhere at the same time, right? Where is I? Where is it? So we've talked about what is it? Well, it's nothingness, but where is nothingness? Where is everything? The nothingness is everything as well. So that is the ultimate paradox. So it leads you from going inwards to now again outwards. I am nothing. Nothingness. Wait, what's the difference between nothingness and everything? What's the difference between consciousness and physicality? Like, you're looking at a book, right, behind you on my bookshelf. You're just looking at the book, and you're saying, what is the difference between I and the book? This is the ultimate level with a lot of practice. This takes a lot of practice. But the end goal is no more attachments. No more attachments at all to anything ever again. Not even yourself. You don't get attached to your whole identity, your whole agenda. If you think about it, you as a human being have an agenda. What is that agenda? I want to survive, and I want to force my opinions and my thoughts and my fears onto the world, right? But really, once we kind of see the futility or the uselessness of that, we start kind of accepting reality as it is, right? It's kind of like reality is just flowing. Acceptance. The milk spills. I go on vacation. My bike tire explodes. It's like, oh, wait, that was supposed to happen. Since I don't exist, there's nobody here. There's nobody. There's no free will happening. There's no choices, right? It's the whole time you grew up, you believe that people had this idea called free will and free choices, right? But when you dive into yourself, you realize, wait, all of this action is not being done by a thing, right? It's coming from biology and the environment, just interaction, karma, cause and effect, like kind of like boxes in a ball, balls in a box, just bouncing around, events occurring. Okay, but it's not. Don't forget, it's not meaningless. It's meaningless, yes, in the sense that you don't exist. That's pretty meaningless. Wait, I don't exist. Where is meaning? Well, the meaning is everywhere. Everywhere. It's just consciousness, beauty, just unending beauty. Right? The idea that there's nowhere and everywhere. It just reduces the level of stress. It's like, oh, I can breathe. Oh, finally. I don't have free will. The choices were never mine to begin with. I never made a choice in my life. It's just going in, breathing, and letting the universe take control. Because you are the universe. You are the everything. I becomes the we, becomes the animals, becomes us, becomes everything. So what, to go back to the original question, what do we do here, sitting on the mat? What exactly do we do? Well, to become one with the universe, it's hard to do that when you think your thoughts. You think you're your thoughts. You believe you're your thoughts. That's your identity. When you believe that, it's really impossible to become the universe itself. Impossible to become God or to have union with God, which is what yoga, the word yoga means union between you and God, or the becoming of one. Right? It's really hard to do that when you have illusions and dreams. You believe in the dream. The dream is that you exist. That's just the dream. Okay? Once you start sitting in your room more, okay, like so, you start sitting in your room, just existing. Right? You go into your not your mind. You don't go into your mind. You go into the energy in your heart. You go here, and you follow how reality is working without judgment. You're not judging. It's looking but not looking. Okay? Your eyes are looking, but you're not looking at anything. All that there is there's just looking, only the verb. There's no I look and there's no thing being looked at. There is just looking, sensing, touching. This is evidence that it's just one thing going on. Oneness, not one thing, oneness happening. Okay? But it gets manifested in the now moment. It's manifested, right? Oneness, or God, gets manifested in the book or the genes, for example. It gets manifested because for something to be everything, it needs to be everything, right? I mean, these genes exist. The genes exist, but they aren't genes. Right, that's the paradox. They are genes, but they are not genes. Water is water, but also it's not water. That is the ultimate scary paradox for the ego. Your mind starts to say, "Wait, no, it's got to be the water. It's got to be the water, right? It can't be everything too." No, that's a thought that's been taught by society, by the materialistic society that we grew up in. Our society is materialistic in two ways. It's materialistic in a capitalistic way, so it's economics, right? The idea that my happiness is going to be found in material things. And our society is also materialistic in the sense that we believe the truest part of reality is the physical reality, right? The physicalness, right? We believe this is the truth, physical reality. Books. These books are made of, or this wood, it's made of something. Okay? But things ultimately are not made of physical matter. This is what quantum mechanics is teaching us now. It's reverting back to consciousness. The ultimate essence of things is pure awareness. Just the idea that existence, it's just pure conscious existence and nothing else. Okay? And this is exactly what meditation can help you do, because it decreases, it can, with time, with practice, with diligence, with patience, the thoughts begin to decrease. You become less attached to your beliefs. Okay? I can't even count on both of my hands how many beliefs I used to have that I no longer believe in. Okay? My belief system just continues getting smaller and smaller, and each floor that I used to stand on in my belief system gets thrown out, and I feel like I'm falling, right? When you believe something firmly, you're standing on this firm ground, and it feels so good to stand on the ground, right? But when your belief doesn't fit reality, it's not a good map for reality, then you start falling, and you're like, oh no, like what is truth? What is true? What is true? What is truth? Right? And you just fall until you land on something else. Maybe it's either bigger or smaller or whatever that even means. Right? But that's eventually, with meditation, you become a skeptic. Like, no, I don't believe that. No, I'm not going to take that. I'm going to take everything with a grain of salt. Right? It's going deeper and deeper until you realize I can doubt everything. I can doubt everything besides the fact that existence exists. Okay, that was a problem with Mr. René Descartes. I don't know if you've heard of René Descartes. He questioned everything. The outside world, questioned God, questioned himself. But he realized, I am the thing always perceiving all of these illusions, all of these dreams, all of these perceptions. I'm the one always perceiving it. Which is what he said, which he claimed was the proof that he exists. Okay, he didn't prove that he existed, right? He proved that there's something there. There is something here. That's undeniable, right? People who meditate and who are mindful are not nihilistic. Nihilism is just the idea nothing exists. There's no morality. There's no purpose. Okay, but that's not what we're doing here when we're sitting alone, just breathing. When you sit alone and you're breathing, the thoughts are starting to slow down a little bit, and you're realizing that, wow, there is just pure beauty and consciousness in the world, and it's here and everywhere at the same time. And it's not me, it's not any idea I've ever had. Okay, the ideas don't represent the reality that's going on when you're sitting on this mat or sitting in the grass or however you decide. There's no correct way to meditate. It's just sitting and being, standing and being, walking and being. Eventually it's just existence being itself. Okay? So be patient. You're going to eventually find one day your right path, right? And it's going to come from not an idea, not a belief, not from somebody else. It's going to come from here. It's going to come from your nature. the nature that was you since you were born, or since the beginning. You'll realize that you were never born. That's really scary, that you were never born. Being born is just an idea. But you'll realize since the eternal, now, it's always now, but it's been eternal, is the fact that it's always just been. Okay? Your ideas, little human ideas, little humans, their little ideas can't represent all of reality. Okay? This includes science, history, the news. You have to stop trusting the news. You have to stop trusting science 100%. I'm not saying distrust it 100%. I'm saying that those are just maps. Those are literally just maps. Like, is the map of South America, is that South America? Okay? It's just oversimplifying what South America is by looking at the map, right? Humans have to oversimplify things to try and understand it. And it's never going to really work unless you sit, breathe, and be. Peace.